Hello everyone. Today we will see the passive voice and active voice. Okay, the voice change we will see and how we change the voice of active sentence to the passive sentence and the verb form which it will take in passive voice. So there are three kind of voices. If I will start first, there are three type of voices. Those are active voice, active, passive voice, and quasi passive voice. Quasi passive voice. Okay, these are the three type of voices. So let's start with the active voice. What is the definition of active voice? It, when the subject of a sentence is the doer. Okay, when the subject of a sentence is the doer. Okay, the subject of a sentence is the doer. In this case we called it a active voice. The verb it takes is the active voice verb. Okay, for example, if I will say that it is so because subject is active. Okay, I do this work, he does this work, he he reads the book. Okay, he did this work. These are the active voice. If I will say about the passive voice, when the subject of a sentence is acted upon, when the subject is of a sentence is acted upon. For example, if I will take one example in active and do it passive, then I will say that is if in the active I will say I do this work. I do this work. Uh, I will say sorry about my handwriting because I am writing in my mouse. In some days I will buy the pen tab and it will be more weird for you to understand. Okay. I do this work. If I will say in passive, it will become what this work, this work. I'll go in detail how I change this into passive, but for now I will take this example for now. This work, this work is done by me. Okay, so this is its passive verb. This is passive. This is passive. Okay, next let's jump into the next slide. In the next slide, if I will say how I change that sentence, I do this work and to this work is done by me. We'll change like if a sentence is there, Monica opened the door. Monica opened the door. In its passive form, it will become what? The door, the the object. The object comes first in case of passive. The door is. Here it is opened. Ed form, that is past tense form. We'll use is becomes in passive. Is becomes what? Was. Okay. So we'll write was. The door was open. The door was open. Open by Monica. Okay. So see the changes I make here. That is Monica comes to the what form? Object form, and the object comes to the subject position. And the verb itself takes the form of was plus verb 3. Okay? Was plus verb 3. That is be verb, past tense of be verb. Because in the original sentence there is opened. So I use here was plus verb. In the next slide, I will show you what are the rules changing active voice into passive. Okay, so rule number one, take it down, note it down. Rule number one. So the rule number one says what? Rule number one says the object of the verb in the active voice becomes the subject of the verb in the passive voice. As I have done here, that is, the object of the sentence becomes the subject. You see, Monica opened the door. In the passive form, what happens? The door becomes the subject, and the Monica, the subject earlier, becomes the object. Okay, the door was opened by Monica. I guess you now understood this. Come to rule number two. I will just show in simple abbreviation here. Object, object becomes subject. Okay. So rule number two. What rule number two says? Rule number two. What says? It says the subject of the verb in the active voice becomes the object in the passive voice, generally preceded by the present preposition by. See, the door was opened by Monica. The subject of the earlier active sentence becomes the object in the passive voice by the use of by. By Monica, by Rama, by her, like this. If I will say another sentence, that is, let's suppose she she gave me a letter. Okay, a letter was given by her to me. Okay, in passive voice it becomes that like. So rule number three, what it says, the main verb is changed to the into the past participle form, and it is preceded by the correct form of the verb to be in the passive voice. Okay. So what happens? The main verb as earlier. In this example, I will show you the main verb. This is the main verb open, and it becomes the past participle verb is open. What is the past participle form of open? It is open. It is in past tense. It is also open, and in past participle it is also open. Okay. So remember this. You have to, in order to make passive voice changes, you have to remember all the verb three form of the base verb. Okay. So what rule number four says, there are some verbs with two objects. In such cases, either of the objects can be changed into the subject and the other is written as an object. The object is called written objects. I will show the example of this. Okay, in the latter section of this video. Double passive should be avoided in a simple sentence or in a single clause as it is liable to give a wrong meaning. Okay, I will show you in the latter section. I will show you the example and I will show you how it changes the active sentences into passive. Okay, so for now I will stop here. See you in the latter video. Thank you.